Hi, everybody, and welcome back. My name is Jean with guidedbyfaithdesigns.com, and this is Guided by Faith Designs, formerly Woodworking and Painting in Faith. Today, we are going to continue our journey working on custom crosses. So let's get started.
All right, we are going to go ahead and get started. So this is going to be a traveling tree ring pour. I am just putting all of my paints into my split cup, and then right next to the cup you can see I have all of the paint colors listed, and that is in the order that I put the paints in the cup. Down in the description you're going to find all of the mixture ratios and everything that you need to mix up your paints for this type of traveling tree ring pour. Now, once we get all of the paints into the cup, we are going to go ahead and we are going to flood these pieces with a thinner consistency black paint. This is just going to give a good base for the traveling tree ring pour to move on, so I don't have to do a whole lot of tilting. By putting down a thinner base, it's going to help your paints move better. Now, all of these MDF pieces were, of course, cut and routed and then hand sanded to where they were nice and smooth. And then I painted on 2 coats of just a Deco Art acrylic black paint. It is very important if you are working with MDF or a porous wood like this to do a good sealing coat, at least 2. That way the MDF itself does not soak up any moisture and water that might be in your paints, because that can actually ruin the texture and everything of your MDF and cause uneven drying and a host of other things. So make sure you seal your MDF really well, and we are going to get everything flooded, and then we are going to start our traveling tree ring pours. All right, so I filled the split cup up a little bit too much, so as you can see, it's kind of catching on the sides, but I am doing the best with what I have available. Next time I do this, I will just put a little bit of paint in the cup, do one, and then put more paint and just do each one separately. But right now, this ended up working out fine, and I'm going to get all of the pieces covered, and then I'm going to go back after I kind of see the designs and how it all laid out and re-pour quite a few of them, again with that technique of using less paint in the cup and doing each piece one by one. All right, the cross is all dried. It's been about 5 days. MDF does dry significantly faster than a canvas just because of its porous nature. So we are going to go ahead and we're going to use wood glue to put this together before we resin everything. And the easiest way to do that, sometimes, depending on how much paint drip you have on the back, and we used a lot of paint in this, so we do have some significant dripping. And the easiest way to do is just flip it on its face and glue it all together from the back side. That way you know that the front is completely flat and everything is going to be even. I'm just using a regular wood glue and a paintbrush, and we are just going to do a very fine edge of paint on the MDF and then stick it all together. The reason why we are painting on the glue instead of pouring it on is, again, because it is face down. We don't want any excess paint to drip and get onto the front of the cross and ruin the finish. So just be careful when you're doing this step. Only use as much glue as you need, so that way you don't have any excess that is going to drip onto the front. I am also just using a small piece of tape as I put all the pieces together so nothing shifts while I am working on the rest of it. This again is just going to help ensure that you're going to have a really good fit and even cross at the end. All right, now that all the glue is dried, it's been about 24 hours. We are going to do our coat of resin. We are using Envirotex resin, and I did leave all of the tape on the back of the cross just for added support until the resin was on. Once the resin is all mixed up, I always go over the sides first and make sure that the resin drips over the sides and that all of the side pieces of the MDF are completely coated in resin. This is just going to help seal your MDF. So I work on those pieces first, and then I am going to work on the grooves and make sure that I get resin all the way into those grooves and that we don't have any openings. And then we are just going to go ahead and flood the piece as well. Now, in the end, I want to have a separation where the grooves are. So I'm going to go through those grooves multiple times with my fingers and just pull some of that resin out. And that is going to help give a little bit of that separation and definition in the resin, so it's not going to be completely flat. All right, once all the resin is cured, about 24 hours later, I'm going to come back with some sandpaper. I'm going to make sure I sand the edges really, really well. I am using 220 grit sandpaper. Working on the sides and the edges and getting any of that roughness. When you put resin on MDF, it is going to give you a little bit of a rough texture whenever it cures. So you just need to sand that down so you have a nice smooth edge. And then once I do that, I'm going to start working on the grooves again. Because it is an open cut resin or an open cut MDF, the inside edge is going to be a little bit rough. And so just going in there and using that 220 to get into those grooves and make sure everything is nice and smooth before doing the final coat of resin. Once I am done doing this, I will lightly sand the very top of the cross, and then I will clean up everything with alcohol before doing the next flood coat of resin. Another thing that is helpful if you have one is using your air gun and your compressor to help blow out some of that excess resin dust before you use your alcohol to clean everything up. Again, this is just going to help get everything out from all of those cracks. And so that way, whenever you pour your next coat of resin, you have a really good base to put it on. And then we are going to do our last coat of flooding. I use the same technique. I work on the sides first, and then I'm going to work on the grooves, make sure those are completely sealed, and then we will do a flood coat, and then I will run my fingers through those grooves just to make sure that we have separation at the end. All right, thank you for joining me today. I hope that you have been inspired to create and that you always find joy in the process. Remember, our creativity is a gift from God, and we can use it to glorify Him and to bless others. Please stay tuned at the end of the video for today's devotional, reflection, and prayer. If you've enjoyed today's video, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification button so you don't miss any great content. I upload every Saturday at 9 a.m. Check out the social media links in the description and join our Facebook group, Paint Pouring for Christ, where like-minded individuals can come together for crafting, prayer, and fellowship. And as we continue on this journey together, please remember to keep our hearts and our minds focused on God. Seek His wisdom and guidance in all that you do. Thank you for being a part of this beautiful community. I look forward to seeing you again soon. And as always, God bless.